In our last video, we have made the connection between the database and our application. We created AppDB context and also created the connection string. Now in this video, we are going to talk about the service layer. Now what is service layer? For that, we need to go back to our previous slides. I think somewhere here it will come. Let me check. Yes. So in this slide, as you can see, service layer basically contains the business logic and it sits between the controller and the database. Now in this flow you can see that client has sent a request. Now request goes to controller. Controllers are only responsible for the HTTP request response, all this thing, and then it goes to the service, and service contains our business logic. Business logic means if we are adding new product, updating new product, whatever the queries or logics needs to be there, that is stays in the service. Now service takes this logic and send this query to the DB context, and in this, or simply you can say like send this logic to the query to the database, and database gets updated, and after that it sends the response back to the service layer again, and getting the response from the DB context, this service layer again sends this response to the controller. Now this is how the system works in our scenario. Now the question might be, we can put this logic in controller layer also, right? But why we are not putting directly this logics into controller? It's simply controller should only handle HTTP concerns, that is routing, status codes, request response, all this. Second, if we put business logic in controllers, it becomes impossible to reuse and hard to test. And third, services can be unit tested without spinning up an HTTP server. So these are the main reasons we are having this service layer differently, not in controller. Now the pattern we are going to use in service layer is, we are going to create one interface, that is iProduct service, and another one is going to be the implementation that does the actual work, that is product service. So let's go back to our code. I'll yeah, here we have this services folder, and I'm going to create two new files over here. One is iProduct service.cs. Another one is going to be the product service.cs. All right. So first of all, we are going to work on this iProduct service, and as I said, so interface is basically the definition of the what operations exist in the actual implementation. So I'm going to call this DTOs over here. So I'm going to using product catalog. This is our main directory, api.dtos, like that. And after that we need to provide the namespace. Again, I don't need this curly braces. I'm going to copy this part and then call the services, the current folder name, and then we're going to have this class. This is going to be interface, so it is going to be interface I product service. Now here we are going to have the task, so I'm going to call task, then it will have I enumerable. It's not showing up the suggestions, and that is good for practice, but sometimes it becomes very helpful. So product, and what it's going to take, it's going to take a product DTO, which is already having in our DTOs, right? So product DTO, and then the get all sync, that is one. And again, I'm just going to copy this line multiple times I need yeah, this is correct. We need 4 1, and here it's going to be only product DTO, and I'm going to provide this question mark that because it may have, it is going to be optional. So get, and this is going to get by ID async. You don't need all, and here I need to provide the ID, otherwise it will not able to find. And next I'm going to take this create async, so it is going to again take the product detail only, and it is not optional. So create async, and we need to provide the create product DTO, and that's going to be the DTO. And after that we need to update. So again, we don't need this enumerable, and again we need product DTO, and also some fields may be optional. And here it is going to be update sync, and what we need int ID and the updated product DTO, that is again in our DTO. And finally we need to have the delete. So delete is going to be the bool over here, boolean, so we call it bool in C#, and it is going to be delete async, and we're going to delete by ID, so we need to have this ID over here. That's all. That is all about our iProduct service at the interface. If you don't know what is task, so task means the method is asynchronous and it won't block the thread while waiting for the database. This is critical for scalable APIs. So if you are not providing task, it is not asynchronous. So in our case, it is asynchronous. Now let's move to our product service. So this is going to be a very long video. I'm going to call you using the entity framework, Microsoft entity framework core, and then I'm going to call product catalog API.data, and similarly I'm going to call DTOs over here, DTOs, and then I'm going to call models. Then the namespace is going to be product catalog API.services. Now our actual class, service class, that is product public class product service. And it needs to have the inheritance iProduct service. Now here we need to call this private read only. This is going to be app.db context from the data. And I'm going to call it as context underscore context, so like this. And then the constructor public product service app.db context, that is going to be context, not this context. So this is going to be local, app.db context is context, and then here we are going to assign it in this line that underscore context equals to the context. Now the actual implementation of our business logic. So first of all, it is going to be get all request. So there's going to be public async, async. Then we are having the task, then I enumerable, just similar to our the interface, and then the product name DTO, and then the function name get all async. Sorry, it should be async, and we have misspelled something here. It should not be sync, it should be async, and all is going to be async. I misspelled all this, and s should be smaller. Sorry. Oh, this is correct. Delete. Okay, delete spelling is not correct. So DELETE async. Now it seems correct now, and this is also going to be async. And now inside here we'll return, it is a await function. So first I'll type the await, and then it calls the context, that is db context dot products. This is the products table, and dot select.
If you are worried about what is toDTO method, which I'm writing this moment, no need to worry. This is a manual mapping from model to DTO. It's a manual method. We'll be writing it later.
List async. All right. Now this is going to be returned whatever we got here. So return all this product. Now what is context? Context is injected via constructor that we did here, and it's a dependency injection at work. Now await waits for the DB operations without blocking the thread. All right, and to list async means it will send as a list in our case. All right, now I'll move to the next part. So that is going to be get all by ID. I'll first copy this, and I'll edit this part. So this is going to a task, and we don't need this enumerable, and this is going to be product DTO with optional syntax, and then get by ID async, and we need to provide this ID over here. Now first we need to find the product in our DB context, then we're going to send this product as a response. So for that I'm going to take a local variable, that is var product equals to, again, await context dot products, that is the products table, and then find async by ID. Now what is find async? That might be the question. So find async is efficient primary key lookup. So checks memory cache first, and then it goes to the DB. So that is why this find async is very important. So if it is in the memory cache, it will pick up from there. Otherwise it will go to the DB. Now we need to return whatever we got. So return, but here we need to provide one condition. Like the condition is, I'll first type, then I'll explain the product. If the product is null, then we are going to respond as null. This is kind of ternary operator. Else to DTO the product. So again, to DTO means it is mapping with our DTO. All right, now next part is we need to create the product. So next part is create, and here I'm going to again a public async and task, and we need to have this product DTO, then create async. I think I have misspelled in our interface, so it will be only async. Let me check the interface again. Yes, it should not be create all, it should be create async. So create async, and we need to have this create product DTO, and then first we need to create the object of the product what we are getting from the uh, request. So I'm going to take another local variable where product equals to new product, and this is going to be the object, sorry, it should be new product, and this is going to be the object. So first of all, name equals to DTO, the DTO what we're getting here, DTO dot name. It's like a JSON object, but we are defining like in equal sign, and next is description, again DTO dot description, then price equals to DTO dot price, and after that the final one is stock equals to DTO dot stock. So we are done with this object. Now we need to call this mm, that DB context, which is right now context dot products is the table, and dot add, we are adding this product, so product, and then um, after that we'll call this await method over here, and it is again context dot save changes async, and finally you need to return to DTO, and this is going to be the product whatever we have created. Now here we got the new element that is save changes async. So it basically commits all tracked changes to the database as a single transaction. Now you must be thinking like why we are not having both in the same line, because this is the line where we are telling the DB context, okay, this is the product is going to be added. Now this product is added in the DB context but not updated in the actual database. So for updating to actual database we are calling this second line, this is save changes async. Remember, we are not directly dealing with the database, we are having a middleware entity framework and dependency injection for that. Alright, so we have created the product. Now the another part is deleting, update and delete. So I'll go with update now. So for update, again I need to call this public async, then task, and we have this DTO product DTO, and after that update async, and we need ID over here, ID, and then the updated product DTO. Now var product, we need to first look at the product which is available in the database with this ID. So I'm taking local variable product equals to, now we're going to call this await, and the context dot products dot find async, and then with the ID. Now if product is null, then return null, else it will go to the next line, that is we're going to update the product with the DTO object. So we have this product. Now this, if we do not find this product, it is simply going to return null. But if we have this product, it is going to be updated with the DTO what we got from the request. So product dot name equals to DTO dot name, simply like that. And I'll copy this line 4 times. We need only 4 items. This is going to be description, then this is going to be price, and then this is going to be stock. Right, now we got this updated. Now again we need to call this with context save changes async, and then return to DTO and the product. Alright, so we have completed updating our product. Now next part is deleting our product. Delete will be much more simple. So we need to check the public async, and then task, it is going to have the boolean value, then delete async, and we need this ID. Again we need to search for the product. I'll simply copy this line over here. Now we need to copy this line too, because similar kind of condition, but in this we don't want to return null, we are going to return false because we have bool over here. Now if it is not there, I mean if the product is there, then we have to remove that product. So I'll call context dot products. Did I spell somewhere products? Let me find. Okay, this is wrong. It should be, let me replace it here. It should be products. Okay, so products, and this product is going to be remove product, and then again we have to save these changes. So await gb context dot save changes async. Now we need to return true. All right, so we have updated this delete also. Now the last part we need to do is here, we need to map this private helper. So what is that? Let me comment this line, private helper which maps model to DTO. So what is that? So I'm going to take a static over here, static product DTO, and it will have this functionality, that is to DTO, and then the product, which is, I'm going to take P, then we'll call this arrow function, then new. In this new function we are going to have ID equals to P dot ID, then name equals to P dot name, then description equals to P dot description, and then similarly price equals to P dot price, and after that stock equals to P dot stock. So now the static function is going to be called all the 2 DTO methods what we have written over here, and this is the manual mapping from the model to DTO which we have defined as in static over here. So that's all about the service layer. I think I have completed all the business logic over here. Okay, we'll meet you in the next video for the controller layer.